10-minute runs, but for this marathon I'm going to put 5 of them together into one run. So 3, 2, 1, go. And there's a pretty difficult skip right at the beginning, which hopefully I get it. I'll give it a few tries. If I don't get it, it's no big deal. Okay, I didn't get it, but I actually backed it up with another like half high roll skip, so I'll take that. You can make it to the top platform, but it's fairly difficult to do. It's not too difficult, like I could probably get it about 50%, but I needed a slight angle there, and I realized right away that I didn't get the slight angle, which meant I couldn't wall kick, so I just backed it up with the half high roll skip. We were still able to skip about half the stage, which is not too bad. So we saved about 20 seconds. We could have saved about 40, but I'll take it. Okay, so yeah, this is where we would have landed, and we will get to try that skip again with other characters, thankfully. So yeah, Mario plays exactly the same as he does in Mario 64, but with a new character model, which looks really nice. He also has a new triple jump animation. So there we go, there's the first star done. So there's 6 stages plus the final Bowser fight, and the nice thing is you can do the stages in any order. So next is the Pikachu stage, which is the most RNG based stage in the game, I would say, because you need to defeat all these Pikachus and also collect all the coins that they drop. And it's kind of RNG because they move around like very erratically. It's very hard to catch these Pikachus, and there's a coin bouncing off the stage. That's okay, you can miss 1 coin, but if 2 coins fall off the stage, we'll have to restart the stage, which can also be a run killer when you're grinding runs for this. Okay, so that's actually, that's what happened there. That's not a big deal, about a 30-second time loss. So not the start I was looking for, but it's just RNG, there's not much you can do about it. It's fairly rare that that happens as well. So this is RNG for sure, but it's also skill-based because you have to really do a good job of... See, that was actually really good, there was a triple kill. You have to really be doing well with deciding what Pikachus to go for, as well as the fact that after you kill the Pikachu, you have to decide whether or not you want to go for the... Oh, that's really good as well. You have to decide if you want to go pick up that coin right away, or if you want to go for more Pikachus, because sometimes you might see a bunch more Pikachus, but you know your blue coins are about to disappear. So you have to make a really quick decision. So, like, it's kind of annoying to grind that out because that can vary like 20 seconds or so, RNG-wise. But it's also an interesting mix of skill and luck. So here we can do a skip just with A-B kicks. This is the Metroid escape stage. Can I save this? Not a very fast backup, but this should work. Okay, we backed it up. So yeah, Mario has his normal jumps, so he's okay at this stage. Other characters can do some more skips to make it a little faster. So yeah, each character, the 5 of them, is its own separate category normally. It's just a 100% category for each of them. And each of those runs are usually about less than 10 minutes. This is the first ROM hack I learned how to speedrun, and I did that back in January. And it took me several weeks, and I managed to get the world record for each individual character. And it was a really fun grind, going for the records for each. And they're definitely improvable as well. Like, I think my runs are fairly good, but they are improvable. So I highly encourage anyone to learn this ROM hack because it's a very easy ROM hack to learn how to speedrun, and it's quite short as well. And it's just a lot of fun. I like games with multiple characters. So here you have to dodge the flames once, but we can just get hit by them the second time, because it'll leave us at 50 HP. And the coins will heal us anyway, plus the star at the end. I think the mic volume is good, but if you want me to raise or lower the game audio, I can. I did test it a little bit before the stream. So here we can actually long jump a little bit off the edge of the R-wing because the model for the R-wing is actually not as big as the hitbox for it. And for these coins, I'm gotta be careful. I like to go neutral on the stick when I land. Oops. Okay, thank God. That wasn't a good example of it here. Okay, mic is good, that's good. It's not a good example of it there, but it's nice when you land on a really small platform. Even in Mario 64 in general, to just go neutral on the stick because you lose a lot of your momentum right away if you just go neutral. Okay, next is my favorite stage. This is the first stage, normally, in Melee. Thankfully, I mean, this is kind of a tough game to commentate while playing because it's very action-packed, but thankfully there is kind of like a autos. Oops, that's also not very lucky that the Goomba's there. Not a big deal, though. It's a tough game to commentate while playing because there's a lot going on, but thankfully there is like one auto-scrolling segment coming up, which I'll get to explain more about this game. Okay, so just trying to get settled into this run here, but nothing too bad has gone, nothing has gone too wrong so far. So for these mushrooms, you just want to cut your corners as best as possible. And here we're just going to use the slope to get as far as possible, because swimming is slow. You can't skip the swim as Mario, but you can with some other characters, which you'll see in a bit. And this is a very like movement-based hack as well, which I like. And it's interesting that the movement is so different based on what character you're playing as well. Okay, so just one more stage with Mario. It's also nice that you can do the stages in any order, because for certain characters you might want to choose a different order if you're speedrunning the 100% category for that character. So for example with Mario, I'll usually do Hyrule first because he has a fairly difficult Hyrule skip. But with Luigi, for example, his Hyrule skip is a little bit easier, so usually I'll just do the Pokemon Stadium stage first, because it's more RNG, so you want to get that out of the way. So this is based on the Penguin race in Mario 64, but unfortunately there doesn't really seem to be any way to speed this up, because no matter how fast you finish the race, the other car finishes around the same time every time. And the reason I know that is because I pretty much time my gold split for this when I'm running it pretty much every time, so I don't think there's any rubber banding like there is for the Penguin. Yeah, this was made by Pasta Power, I should have said that in the beginning. He also made the Mario Bros. Super Show ROM hack, which is another very good one, which has been on this marathon before in past years. But yeah, I don't know if he's still around. One thing you don't want to do is like start wall kicking off this wall, because it's the Penguin race. There is a mechanic in the original game with the Penguin race where if you're in midair for I think 2 seconds, the Penguin will think you're cheating because he thinks that you've fallen down to a lower part of the slide. So you don't want to just like jump around too much there, because that'll happen in this hack as well. Okay, next is just the Giga Bowser fight, and that'll be it for Mario. So this is just one Bowser throw. But the tricky thing about this fight is, even though Giga Bowser looks gigantic, his actual hitbox and tail hitbox is the same as regular Bowser, so you gotta get a lot closer to him than it looks to actually grab his tail. And same thing with the bomb over there, it's farther than it actually looks. Okay, we got it, nice. So that wasn't too bad for Mario. And sometimes it looks like you're gonna hit the throw because his character model is so big, but again, because it's smaller than it actually looks, hitbox-wise, it's a little bit trickier than it looks. So this will be the Mario run, and then we're going to switch over to the Luigi run after this screen here. And I just have a little be right back screen from when I used to stream old school RuneScape that I'll use just as we switch the ROM here. Unfortunately, each character is its own separate ROM, which is You know, not super convenient, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so starting off with the Luigi run. And Luigi is very floaty and jumps very high. So his high roll skip is a bit different. Okay, I'm actually just going to retry that. It's actually quicker to just reset. Okay, I'll give this a few more tries. This is one of the easier high roll skips, to be honest, so this is one I should be getting. Okay, I had to adjust a little bit there because my timing with the wall kicks is a bit off. Okay, there's a really difficult thing, well, not super difficult, but... Okay, that's pretty cool. That jump you don't have to do, that last one. It saves about 2 seconds. I actually don't even go for that in the world record, but I wanted this to be entertaining. So that last triple jump wall kick onto that random platform there, it saves about 2 seconds. I don't know why that platform that I did the double jump kickoff is there. You don't really use it for anything casually in this game. There just happens to be a platform there. And depending on your graphics plugin, that platform will be invisible. It's a pretty good Pikachu stage so far. So yeah, you usually want to go for the okay, this is really good actually. You usually want to go for the Pikachus kind of on the side of the stage like this. I can kind of corner them there. Unfortunately, they fell off, so I have to retry. That is just really unlucky. It's kind of rare for that to happen, but you know, it's just the, you know, a marathon luck, I guess. Yeah, like I said, you can only miss 1 coin. So if 2 coins fall off the stage, you're kind of out of luck and you just have to retry. But thankfully, you know, the stages in this game are so short where it's not too big of a time loss. And the second one is actually going decent. So like this guy, you can tell he's like trying to go to the left or right at the last second, so you just have to know when to go for the slide kick. Gotta get this coin before it disappears. Sometimes you can use dives as well. Dives have a little bit more speed, but you need to build up more speed to do the dive, and the hitbox for the dive doesn't come out as fast. So Luigi's a little better at this stage than Mario because his triple jump goes higher. You can save yourself some AB kicks. I just found that long jump like a few hours before this run. Luigi has such good jumps that it's worth doing those kind of tasks, pole jumps there. That was a really good Metroid stage. So here's a big difference with Luigi and Mario. Luigi can do a triple jump dive to skip a decent part of the stage. It saves about 10 seconds, so it's not like a game breaker, but it's worth doing. And it's possible to skip the swimming with Luigi here, but it's a bit precise. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, I missed the jump, no big deal. If you jump at like the very last second, you can skip the swim. So normally this is the first red coin we would get with Mario, but with Luigi it's one of the last. Not bad.
Here we go!
So next is Corneria. So there is one strat you can do with Luigi here. You can probably do it with almost any character, where you basically activate the R-Wing early, and then go collect some of the coins while you're waiting for the R-Wing. It's really just one coin that you get while you're waiting for the R-Wing, actually. And it saves time because you can, it saves time because you can collect a coin while the R-Wing's moving, so you're kind of doing two things at once. But it saves maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and it's a pretty difficult trick. It's kind of tough to jump onto the moving R-Wing. Okay, I missed the coin. That's never happened before. I think I can just go get another R-Wing. But I can actually talk about, use the opportunity to talk about some of the background with this game. I think the R-Wing should come back. Let's get these coins while we're waiting. Okay, it's back. Not the end of the world there. Okay, yeah, I might as well say what I wanted to say now. So yeah, I'm a big Mario 64 fan. I first played Mario 64 Vanilla when I was just like a toddler at my friend's house, and then when I was 5 I got it as my first video game along with my N64. Okay, not the best R-Wing stage there, but we'll just redo that here. So, I've always been huge into Mario 64 ever since I was a kid, and I'll talk more about how I got into speedrunning when we get to the R-Wing stage. I do have a fairly generous estimate for this run, thankfully, so it's not too big of a deal to have a death there. Okay, there we go. Again, just going neutral once I'm landing there, just so I don't slide off, especially with Luigi so slippery. That's a important thing to know. And because we're facing up a slope there, we can always dive right away. When you jump facing up a slope, you don't have to worry about doing a jump kick. Okay, so yeah, on with the story. So yeah, I got into, just regular Mario 64 when I was a little kid, got N64 for my 5th birthday, and became obsessed with the game. And then in the mid-2000s, I got kind of interested in speedrunning. There was a speedrun community for N64 games in like the late 2000s, but it wasn't so much about doing speedruns. It was more about just looking for glitches and finding speedrun strats. And there was actually this competition thing on GameFAQs, like Game FAQs, where they would do this thing called the video quiz, and you would basically upload videos of these mini speedrun challenges, and like the better you could do them, the more points you would get. And that video quiz thing, which I was a part of, had a lot of the early speedrunners from Mario 64. And there was also some other runners of other games, like NOP was there as well, the Majora's Mask runner. That was like late 2000s, like 2008 mostly, I would say. And yeah, like not a lot of people actually did speedruns. Like you wouldn't see people just like streaming 16-star speedruns back then. It was more just about like talking about speedruns and looking for strats and all that. And I think one of my first YouTube videos was like how to get to the tip top of the castle in Mario 64 back in, I think that was uploaded New Year's Eve 2007. And like I was bad at the game, but I would look for like BLJs and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. And I know this is a ROM hacking marathon. I remember when the Missing Stars came out, and I was amazed at the time that like you could make a full game in the Mario 64 engine, because like there was Toadstool 64 and there was like I used to like mess around with the Game Shark codes, but it was amazing at the time that you could have a full game based on Mario 64 just like as a hack. And that's still one of my favorite hacks to this day, the Missing Stars, even though it's a bit dated by modern standards. It's like a really fun hack still, just because of the nostalgia. And it's really good for its time as well. Can we get a Bowser? No, I can't get a teleport grab there. Thought I could. Be good there. Yeah, you don't want to overspin Bowser. When I see people speedrunning Mario 64 for the first time, I feel like they often spin Bowser too much, but it actually gets more precise to do the throw if you're overspinning. Okay, so there's the Luigi run. Not ideal with the R-Wing death there, but not too bad. Okay, on to the next run. The order doesn't really matter, but I guess I'll do Ness. Ness is a pretty interesting character in this game. So Ness actually does have a high roll skip, but I don't do it in my world record. If you can do 4 consecutive firsties out of a long jump, you can do high roll skip with a Ness. The former world record actually does do it, but I was able to beat it just by not doing it and optimizing the other stages more. It's pretty difficult to do 4 firsties in a row. If you're not familiar, a firstie is a first frame wall kick. You normally have 4 frames to wall kick, but if you can do the wall kick on the first frame, you get extra speed, and you maintain your speed as well. And it's very difficult to do 4 of them in a row. It's definitely possible though, like there's plenty of people I'm sure in the Mario 64 ROM hacking Discord who can do that like in their sleep, but for me that's a little too tough. Yeah, it's 5 frames. I don't know if I said 4. I know for a long time, like back in the day, people actually thought it was 4, up until like 5 years ago when people started realizing like we've been wrong about this our entire lives. And now we have like the Usamune ROM where you can see exactly what frame you wall kick on. So Ness is a pretty interesting character. He doesn't have a triple jump, but he does have a really good double jump. That's kind of like his melee double jump. It gives him a lot of height, but you can't wall kick out of it, which is why the high roll skip is hard for him. I forgot to reset the file, but that's not, it doesn't actually affect anything. I just have to remember what stars I have done. Okay, so with his double jump we can do a skip here. So if you don't dive or ground pound, his double jump will have this weird like bounce thing, kind of like the special triple jump in Mario 64 that you get from Yoshi. So usually you want to dive or ground pound, just to make sure you don't bounce around like crazy. So there's a good example of what his double jump can do. But his long jump is actually really bad, like it just does not give that much height. So Ness is interesting, like his jumps are good, but at the same time he's limited in some ways. Coin just phased right through me there. He's also very floaty. But yeah, as far as me with the ROM hacks, like I played most of the major ones. I haven't played nearly as many as most of you guys from the Discord have. But I like keeping up with like the major ones from like Keizaman UR and some of the more popular ones. And like the ones in the Mega Pack as well. But this is the first one that I learned how to speedrun back in January, and about a week ago I started derusting for this. I've actually been speedrunning Mario 64 DS recently, which is another game I grew up with as a kid. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Not a big deal. So Ness actually does have... I'm just going to restart because I don't know my position. Ness actually does have some pretty cool skips he can do in this stage. So if you line up correctly here. Okay, one more. Yeah, so those save you a little bit of time. Something that like Mario couldn't do for the most part. And we'll use it to skip a little bit of the pole climb there. No, I have not played most of the Kaizo ones. I'm not good enough for those. But yeah, I use a Pro controller, Switch Pro controller for the ROM hacks, and then if you're wondering, I use a GameCube controller when I speedrun Vanilla, which is on Wii, which I'll talk about next time we're in the F-Zero stage. So with Ness, you don't have to do a jump kick there to dodge those, but some other characters will. And maybe I could show it, like when you jump, you see how far the R-Wing moves after you jump, so you don't really want to mess around too much on this R-Wing, because if you do even like a normal jump, you will probably fall off. Okay, jump down here. And Ness goes really high from the Sonic the Hedgehog bouncy things there, so sometimes you might just want to do a ground pound to stop it there. And I don't know what's going on here, okay. And for this slope, I like to just do a long jump, and that'll give me enough momentum to get up here. It's pretty easy to slide down on the other side if you're not careful. Ness is also very floaty, as I think I mentioned, so that can actually be a downside for Ness and Luigi on this stage, because every time you do the slide kick, it takes a while to land. Whereas some of the characters that fall a bit faster, which you'll see later in this run, actually have a bit of an advantage in the stage, just because you can get up quicker and do another slide kick. Okay, that's not something I usually do, just jumping on them, but if they're right there, it's worth it sometimes. Just a punch there. Okay, thank you for not falling off this time. Yeah, so I've always kept up with the Mario speedruns, like watching, you know, I watch most of the main 120 runners ever since, like, Siglemic and all that. But in the mid-2010s, I was more focused on running, like, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I still kept up with, you know, the game and all that, and, you know, watching most of the streamers. But I got really back into Mario 64 speedruns myself the last few years. I still have my N64, but I actually decided to come back and run the game on the Wii Virtual Console, just on my CRT with a GameCube controller. I really like the Wii Virtual Console version. It's kind of a shame that it's overlooked, but I got some decent times. I have a 158 and 120 star, 53 and 70 star, and 1737 and 16 star, which are not like amazing times, but I put a lot of work into them, so I had a lot of fun with that, and maybe I'll go back to that at some point as well. And yeah, I actually just do most of my runs offline. I'm not much of a streamer, more of a YouTube person. I used to make a lot of YouTube videos for old school RuneScape, but maybe I'll stream them in the future. And part of the reason this is my favorite hack is because Super Smash Bros. Melee is one of my favorite games of all time as well, which I'll talk about when I get a chance here in the next F-Zero stage. How are we doing on time? 28 minutes is not bad, considering the unlucky things that have happened this run. So when you're on good pace, it can be kind of nerve-wracking doing that F-Zero stage, because you know you have your Bowser throw coming up, and this run is so short that you can't get a really good time with a missed Bowser throw. Okay, just barely got it there. Because a missed Bowser throw is maybe 10 to 15 seconds, so like, you know, I might be like 2 seconds ahead of my PB going into this split, so you have to get the Bowser throw first try, usually, if you're going for like a really competitive time in this. Unfortunately, I'm pretty much the only runner of this right now, but there used to be more runners. This hack is a few years old, so it's not super active. but I encourage anyone to run it on, and you can see the leaderboard on speedrun.com. Okay, so next will be Falcon. Let's delete the file this time. So Falcon has very poor jumping abilities, but he runs very fast. So you actually can do a high roll skip with Falcon. I'll go for it once, but it's very difficult. Okay, we didn't get it. It's not a big deal. Even if I got that, there's another couple wall kicks you have to do, which are not the easiest. My consistency, it's basically the same as the Mario high roll skip, except it's even more difficult. And my consistency with it is only like 20%. That's fine when you're running attempts of this game because you can just keep resetting. But in the marathon, obviously, we're just gonna do it the intended way here. It kind of makes Falcon a more annoying character to optimize because of the fact that the high roll skip for him is pretty difficult. So there, when I was falling, I went into Mario Cam, just so the camera could catch up easier. Sometimes in Mario 64, even in vanilla, when you're falling a long distance, the camera can kind of lag behind up in the air, so the easiest way to fix that is just to tap R and then tap it again to reset the camera by going into Mario Cam and going back out again. So I'm actually not super used to doing this part with Falcon because in my attempts I just, do high roll skip. Gotta be careful around the like because that's a Chuckya. And this Redead here is an Octorok, and I can safely long jump over him because he's still, or the Redead is a bully, and I can safely long jump over the Redead because he's still only as tall as the bully, which is not too tall, even though he looks taller. And there are Octoroks at the bottom, which are Mr. Eyes, so it's pretty cool how they repurpose the Mario 64 enemies. So Falcon has pretty low jumps, so he has to do the normal route. That was his triple jump, which you saw a little bit earlier, which is, it's pretty bad. Okay, alright. I don't know how I didn't fall there. Just trying to cut our corners here to save a little bit of time. The Goombas are pretty much going to be in random spots, so it's a bit of RNG in terms of how much they'll mess up your jumps. It's all main characters because there are actually 2 additional characters, Zebra. There is some wonderful characters, Peter Griffin and Garfield, and they are really annoying to play as. They have really glitchy movesets. You can speedrun them, they are on the leaderboards, but they're just really messed up characters that, Garfield runs 1,000 miles per hour and Peter Griffin jumps 1,000 feet in the air. So it's kind of silly, but I decided not to include them for the marathon. But you can go on the leaderboard and there are some runs for them. It's a little bit interesting, but it gets old kind of fast. So Falcon, because he can run super fast, he can actually just run up that slope instead of doing A-B kicks. Okay, and I actually had muscle memory for another character there, which is not a big deal. But yeah, after you're running for about 2 or 3 seconds, Falcon starts running a little bit faster than normal. And that means you can just run up the slope here. Yeah, I needed a double jump there. That was part of the challenge practicing for this marathon, was trying to be in practice with all the different characters at the same time. Because normally, if I'm running this, I might just spend a day running Falcon or a day running Fox. But I had to be ready for all the characters here, which was my idea, to combine them into one run because I like seeing all the different characters and their abilities. The only thing kind of disappointing with Falcon, and again, this is a really well-made hack, but the only thing that's kind of disappointing is he doesn't have any, unique moves or anything. He's just fast and he doesn't jump well. Out of all the characters, he's, the only one that doesn't really have anything, super special about him. But I believe there is another hack of like Captain Falcon in Mario 64, which might also be made by Pasta Power, but I could be wrong about that. Where he's just in like vanilla Mario 64. So that jump over the flames is a little bit more difficult as Falcon. Yeah, he doesn't have like a Falcon Punch move in this game other than his animation when you collect the star. Yeah, it is the same guy. Pasta Power has a Falcon vanilla mod. Thank you, Andrew. I remember hearing somewhere that Pasta Power doesn't have like the assets for this game anymore. I could be wrong about that, but this game could use like a tiny update for some things, like the coins falling off on the Pikachu stage, which would be nice, but otherwise it's a pretty well-made hack. It's very well-made, I think. It's also just fun to play casually. You can beat this hack in about 30 minutes or so, just playing your first time. I'm actually just going to restart there because the coin fell off already. Yeah, I swear to God that usually does not happen very often. It's maybe like 10% of the time where a coin will fall off, and it's happened like 3 or 4 times so far this marathon. But that's okay, that's part of why I gave myself like a somewhat generous estimate, just to account for those things. Sometimes you can kind of grab the coin as it's falling off, but not always. Like, you can kind of jump out there a little bit and grab the coin. Okay, so that one fell off, but I think we're good. I think we only missed, yeah, we're good. So yeah, he does the Falcon Punch there, but it's just an animation. But yeah, I highly encourage anyone to try running this game, especially if you're new to ROM hack speedrunning like I was. That's a very quick hack to learn. So yeah, with Super Smash Bros. Melee, that was one of my other favorite games. It still is one of my favorite games of all time. In the early 2010s, I started playing that competitively, both in person. I would go to like tournaments on most weekends, and online. I was one of the first people involved in like Melee netplay, back when it was just like an IRC server with maybe like 10 of us. And then they had the Anthers Ladder eventually website for matchmaking, and I got first place in the first season of that, which was a lot of fun. And I went to a lot of tournaments as well. I was ranked 15th in New York, New Jersey at one point, many, many years ago. And I had some decent wins. I won like a 100-man tournament in upstate New York one time. Also, I beat Duck, I think is the best player I ever beat. He's a really good Samus player. And I did take a game off Mewtwo King in tournament. But other than that, I was nothing special as a Melee player. It was just a ton of fun. That game just literally never gets old. And the reason I don't really play it too much anymore is because eventually it started giving me a lot of wrist pain, unfortunately, because it's a very, very high actions per minute game. I don't really have too much wrist pain anymore, so maybe I could try playing it again, but I'm just kind of afraid of that returning. But I still watch Melee all the time. I'm watching kind of the majors on most weekends, especially during the summer. Like I was watching Smash Factor X last weekend. It's one of my favorite games to play, and also one of my favorite games to watch as well. It's a very, very fun game. It just never gets old. I was a Sheik and Ice Climbers main. Will that hit? Okay, good. Okay, so the Bowser throws have been fairly good this run, at least. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous going into this run, but, you know, once I've had a few minutes of gameplay, I think I'm feeling much better. So that's the Falcon run. I did practice quite a bit, so at least I was prepared. Okay, we got one more character, which is Fox, which is actually the most difficult run, I would say. I can do the characters in any order, but I just decided to do it this way. Okay, so Fox, as far as I know, cannot do the high roll skip, because he has no long jump and he falls like a rock, so I don't think he can do high roll skip. Maybe with like a lot of firsties off of his triple jump you could do it, but I've never messed around with it too much, but it might be possible, but it would probably be really difficult. In the meantime, these jumps are way harder than they look with Fox because, like I said, he falls so fast and you can't grab the ledges of those platforms. So he does have the Firefox, as you see here, which is a really interesting move. Unfortunately, you can't really use it on those lava platforms because the ceiling is so low that if you try to use it, you'll bonk under the top and fall into the lava. So yeah, he does not have a long jump because the Firefox kind of replaces his long jump. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like running Mario Sunshine. You don't have a long jump, except you don't have Flood either. I've never run Mario Sunshine, but I have learned some of the tricks for it. And he also starts moving really fast, as you see here, after a minute, or just after a few seconds of running. And yeah, his jumps are just not the best, so you really want to be careful here. And I'll use the Firefox there. Sometimes that like can be an issue, the Chuckya equivalent. Some people don't know. I would say most of you guys probably know because you play a lot of ROM hacks, but you can actually escape a Chuckya's grab. You have to mash A and also keep tapping the control stick in any direction, making sure you go neutral between taps, and if you do that a good amount of the time you can escape Chuckya, or like in this case. So he can do the skip here, which is nice. And do it again here just to get this coin. And might as well do it again. I don't know if it's faster to Firefox onto the mushroom, but it's probably the safest strat. And he can skip the swim here pretty... Actually, it's fairly precise, so I didn't just change my mind on that because I missed it. It's actually fairly precise to get that skip. Usually you'll just kind of bonk against the wall there. So his movement is kind of tough, like, I'm kind of missing a decent amount of dustless rollouts here. But it's not a big time loss or anything. So if you're new to Mario 64 speedrunning, usually for rollouts, you want to, you can press A or B to roll out. Okay, another close call with the Goomba there. You can press A or B to roll out, but it's kind of good to stagger the A and B press when you're rolling out because you want to avoid dust on your rollout. If you get a frame perfect rollout, you maintain speed, and also you don't get dust, which is how you know that you did a frame perfect. So you kind of want to press like A and then B a frame after. Whereas with the slide kicks, you can only press A to roll out, so it's a little bit tougher to get the frame perfect input. So Fox has a really cool stage here. Even though his jumps are not good, the Firefox is really good for these skips here. It saves a little bit of time. His side flip is good, so you do want to use his side flip where you can. And just using the side flip to skip the pole climbing there. The timing for this final jump as well is also a little bit tricky if you're not used to it, because it can vary based on the character, and if you miss that jump, you'll probably fall. My favorite character is probably Luigi. I just like how it's like a familiar moveset to Mario, but you can just jump higher and it allows him to do a lot more skips. And it's the character I started running this game with. Yeah, Fox I would say is the least optimized world record as well. When I was derusting, I did manage to... I haven't uploaded the runs yet, but actually, hold on, I have to focus for this jump here, so I miss it, I die. Okay, yeah, so when I was derusting for this the last week, I did manage to improve the Mario record about like 8 seconds, and Fox by about 2 seconds, but with the Fox runs, because like you can't do high roll skip and you have to jump over those lava platforms. I never feel like I'm like really being optimal with that segment, so, and just in general because his movement is so weird, but you could definitely like master this movement and get a really good run. It's just tricky to do because his falling speed is so high. But it is kind of cool that like you can't long jump. It's just kind of like interesting to be limited in that way. And we're just gonna run here to, because once he gets that speed, okay. Okay, that almost just lost a minute, so I'm glad I didn't fall there. So again, with like Falcon, because he, you know, falls really quick from his rollouts, he's actually pretty good at the Pikachu stage, and because of his good run speed. Although, like, it's not as good as you would think because, like I said, it takes a couple seconds for him to get the max speed on his run. So, like, usually by then you're gonna end up doing a jump kick anyway. I mean, the slide kick. But as you saw, like, a couple times there, when I have to cross the entire stage, it's worth building up that speed. Should be good as long as another coin doesn't fall. Up, but another coin fell. Yeah, I swear that is fairly rare to have that happen, but it happens sometimes, so. It might have cost us sub 50, which, oh well, it's not a big deal. It'll still be well under estimate here. Getting kind of owned by the Pikachus. Thankfully they don't do damage. And it fell again. Yeah, so that is the one thing that I would say is like kind of broken about this hack, the fact that that can happen. But again, it's fairly rare, and I've had it happen maybe 4 times so far. So a little bit unlucky, but you know, RNG is just part of speedrunning, always has been. But if he ever made an update for this game, that would be like the #1 thing I would hope he would fix. Okay, not bad. Maybe we can still get sub 50? I'm not sure. This is one of the longer stages. The F-Zero. So yeah, this will be the final auto-scroller segment because this is the last character, so just want to say thank you to everyone who's organized the marathon. I know this must be a lot of work too, even just the scheduling alone sounds like a nightmare, so trying to figure that all out, and the streaming and the technical aspect must have been a ton of work, so thank you for giving me the chance to show off this run to all the organizers, and thank you all for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed the run so far. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me if you want to get into speedrunning this, because again, I would love some competition for this game. So I think we're just going to miss sub 50, but I could be wrong. I have the stream open, which the timer is obviously going to be a little bit delayed compared to what I have. Wish I could have got better RNG in this run, and I also made some mistakes as well, but it's been a pretty solid run so far. I also will be commentating a run, I believe, on Saturday at like 2 PM. I forget which run it is, but I'll be back for that to do some commentary. So time will be when the animation starts for picking up the star. So it's not when the star actually touches Fox, but when the animation starts. So I'll say time in a second. Time. There we go. Okay, we just missed sub 50, but considering the bad luck, this actually went pretty well, and still well under estimate. So yeah, thank you so much for hosting me. If you want to check out any of my socials, it's all AndrewAJT on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and all that. Maybe I'll stream this game sometimes, but like I said, feel free to message me if you have any questions. And thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you guys in the Twitch chat and also on commentary on Saturday. Thanks everyone.